Hi, I'm Greg Hunter. This is the weekly news wrap up, the WNW 337 for June 1st, 2018. Remember this? This was back in February of 2018, and I was making fun of the mainstream media that couldn't come to grips with the spying. And this is the Inquirer, and they used to be the laughing stock, the non-journalist paper. Well, it looks like they're the journalist of the group between the New York Times and the Wall Street Journal and the the LA Times, the New York Times, the Washington Post. Obama and Hillary ordered FBI to spy on Trump. Remember that? February 2018. Well, now we find out they did have spies, paid spies, the FBI, DOJ, CIA, counterintelligence. They did have paid spies. They're fighting over the vernacular. Instead of calling them spies, they're informants. Well, we were trying to do the best for Donald Trump. We were protecting Donald Trump. If you were protecting him, you'd have come to him and said, hey, listen, you have Russians that are trying to get involved in your campaign. Oh, no, but they weren't trying to do that. They were trying to frame him. So now the Inquirer, way ahead of the mainstream media, now they want to call the spies informants. That's what Trey Gowdy wants to call them. And I think, I used to like Trey Gowdy. I think he's compromised. What can I say? He's coming off looking stupid. When it's obvious, provably obvious, there were spies in the Trump campaign, and this is off the charts, never happened in American political history. This whole thing with Donald Trump makes Watergate look like a water balloon fight, like somebody stole a piece of gum out of your sister's room. This is the biggest political crisis, fraud, piece of tyranny and treason, abuse of power that has ever happened in America. Ever happened in America. This is huge. Trey Gowdy comes out and says he rejects Trump's spy claim that they were just informants. Trey, you're looking stupid. You're especially looking stupid, Trey, who was a former federal prosecutor when people like Joe diGenova, also a famed, way more famous than him, federal prosecutor, not special. Also, Rudolph Giuliani, people you know him as the mayor of New York City, but he was a federal prosecutor in the Southern District of New York. Very prestigious. Both diGenova and Giuliani were ripping Trey Gowdy to shreds. They were grinding him into burger, talking about how that they were luring people, the intelligence agencies, DOJ, FBI, CIA, luring people out of the country, planting this counterintelligence theme to make it look like the Russians were involved in the Trump campaign when they weren't. All phony, planted. Joe diGenova said many times, so has Giuliani said many times, that, this is they exonerated Hillary and committed all kinds of felonies, and they were trying to frame Donald Trump. That means the whole Mueller investigation, which really started out as a intel operation, a counterintelligence operation, was a fake one. They planted it. They made it up. So the whole Mueller investigation is based on a made-up fraud to try to get evidence and manufacture evidence and manufacture a case to remove Donald Trump from office and impeach him. That's the story. I mean, Giuliani said, listen, I was at the Trump campaign. I was a top guy in the campaign. I mean, if the FBI thought that the Russians were involved, they should have come to us. We would have helped them. But no. They didn't come to them because they were trying to frame him. It's obvious. I mean, diGenova and Giuliani ripped him to tatters, crushed him, which tells me he can't be that stupid. Listen, there were people in Congress that wanted Trey Gowdy, who was running the Benghazi inquiry with Hillary, never brought up the gun running. I mean, Rand Paul talked about gun running on the floor of the Senate, from Libya to Syria. That was a Hillary's crowning moment. We could get this all done for peanuts compared to us, using our weapons and our troops and our guys and our lives, and we could just put terrorists in Libya to do it. Then take all the guns and all the stuff we use there, and then put it into Syria to topple Assad. That was Hillary's idea. They didn't bring that up. People were mad that he didn't bring it up. Compromised. I'm sorry. Trey Gowdy's not running for re-election. Laura Ingraham tried to have him on her show. Wouldn't come on. Wouldn't come on because he can't come on and explain a terrible, terrible, compromised, stupid, idiotic position that there wasn't spying going on in the Trump camp. They were informing what? Planted to frame Donald Trump. This is off the charts, unbelievable. And the deep state just shows them how desperate the New World Order, the Rhino Republicans, the Democrats. They're desperate. Why? Why would this many people commit one felony, obstruction, destruction of evidence, a treason, abuse of power? Why would all these people be committing all these felonies to exonerate Hillary and to frame Donald Trump? Because you know what? What's a few more felonies when you've already committed treason, you've already taken bribes, you've already did extortion, racketeering, you've already been involved in espionage, selling yourself out to the Russians, selling Uranium One, phony, bogus deals where you took bribes from the Iranian nuclear deal where nobody signed it, and the list goes on. What's a few more felonies if you're already going to go to jail for 80 years? And this is lots of people. This is lots and lots of people that were involved in this. Really. Lots of people. Roseanne Barr. I want to talk about that. They know it's not racism, incidentally. Roseanne Barr made this awful tweet about Valerie Jarrett, Planet of the Apes. But Roseanne Barr says she didn't even know Valerie Jarrett was even, black. But big deal. She's not racist. People know she's not racist. And even the USA Today knows she's not racist because their title about Roseanne, Culture Wars, hit where it hurts. Culture Wars. That's what this is about. They were afraid of Roseanne's power with middle America, the deplorables like me and you, that would wake up normal people to what was going on. And as far as her being racist, her son says she didn't think Valerie Jarrett, who was a former top advisor to Donald Trump, she didn't think Valerie Jarrett, here it says, right, where is that? There it is. Here we go. Oh, here it is. Under the, yeah. Starr also says she didn't know Jarrett is black. So if she didn't know Jarrett was black, how could the comment involving Planet of the Apes be racist if she didn't think she was black? So what was the big deal? Why in the world did ABC lose $60 million just on advertising the loss with the reboot and the cancellation of Roseanne? I mean, she couldn't just come out and say she's sorry. I mean, after all, ABC hired Keith Olbermann back, who has gone on multiple F-bomb laced rants on Twitter talking about the president like he's cuckoo. Samantha Bee, now she doesn't work for ABC, but still she's with the deep state, the mainstream media. She called Ivanka a C word. She's going to get an award. She lost some advertising, but she still has a job. I mean, what's her name? Hill went on this homophobic rant, and she said that her account was hacked. Her site was hacked, and somebody went in there and wrote that. She should be fired just for that stupid excuse, really. But she's not fired. I'm not for firing and censoring people. People do stupid things, and you ought to be able to allow them to say they're sorry. But not Roseanne. No. Not only did they take her show off the air, they took her reruns off of TV Land. They removed her face, image, name from the TV vernacular, from the TV landscape, because she thought she was dangerous. Why was she so dangerous? Well, in the multiple rants she went on, here's the one I think that got her in the most trouble. Here's the one that scared the daylights out of them. They don't want the masses, the deplorables, me and you, to wake up to, oh my gosh, they're screwing us and covertly. So this is a Roseanne tweet. This is the one I think got her into biggest trouble. Soros' goal to the overthrow of U.S. constitutional republic by buying/backing candidates for local district attorney races who will ignore U.S. law and favor feelings instead, and call everyone who is alarmed by that racist. Soros is involved in the overthrow of U.S. constitutional republic by backing candidates for local district attorney races. Really? Did that really happen? Was that true? Yes, it was. George Soros spending heavily to defeat law and order DA candidates. Los Angeles Times reported earlier this month that Soros is involved in 21 district attorney races across the country. Now think about this, folks. This just happened in Missouri. They had a DA that was allegedly funded by George Soros, a couple $100,000. She brought a case against, a bogus case against Greitens, the governor. It was not true. He tried to put her on, he was allowed to put her on the stand. As soon as she found that out, she dropped the case. Another case is involved. Greitens finally acquiesced and gave in. But this was from the DA level. So they can't win at the polls. They can't win with their ideas. They can't even cheat their way in. So they hire DAs to sue them. Oh, sound familiar? Like Donald Trump? Like the Mueller investigation? The fraud? The total fraud? The total bogus, made-up fraud of the Mueller investigation? Some other little notes on George Soros. Soros transfers $18 billion to his liberal philanthropic foundation. This is Fox. $18 billion is what he transferred into Open Society Foundation. It's a stamp and influence on more than 100 organizations in more than 100 countries spanning 5 continents. But he's not liked everywhere. As a matter of fact, he's hated in his home country. Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban accused Soros of being a political puppet master that ruined the lives of tens of millions of people. Nearby, over in Romania, Soros was accused of financing evil. Well, he did finance evil. He financed Antifa, which is communist, violent. Soros funded terrorist group Antifa, plans to make America ungovernable. Remember that video that came out? Hey, George Soros, give us our money. This is out in California. Antifa, carrying signs, Antifa. You know, they cover their faces. He backed Black Lives Matter, just one of many stories about his funding of Black Lives Matter. Hack Soros memo, $650,000 to Black Lives Matter. Black lives don't matter in Chicago. It's just a way to, you know, if something happens to a black person at the hand of whitey, they can make hay with it and make it out like America is a big racist country. Whereas the real statistics are 90% of black people are killed by black people and 90% of white people are killed by white people, according to the FBI. I mean, if Roseanne really wanted to hit Valerie Jarrett right in the teeth, she would have come out and said Valerie Jarrett committed abuse of power and treason by conniving with President Obama in December of 2016, according to Edward Klein, best-selling author, to unmask all these Americans, and every unmasking is a felony. I think that's treason as well. Why? So they could go after the Trump administration, embarrass them, and get them into a situation where they could impeach Donald Trump. She should have tweeted that out about Valerie Jarrett, or her close ties with, you know, her father-in-law with communism in Chicago, or if she would have tweeted something out about how she backed up the Muslim Brotherhood, you know, that radical Islamic terrorist group. That's what's dangerous. That was dangerous about Roseanne. She had the ear of the people in a top-rated television show, just like Tommy Robinson over in the UK. People have asked me to talk about Tommy Robinson. He's a hero in the UK. They should rally around him. And I hope this thing with taking Roseanne Barr's TV shows away from her backfires on the deep state. I hope they jailed Tommy Robinson. They jailed him. Here's a cartoon showing about how they jailed him. And he's reporting on the pedophile grooming gangs and the Muslim pedophile grooming gangs, and now they're making knives. They have an order to make knives even duller. They don't have any guns over there. They got all these stabbings by these crazy Islamic radical terrorists over there. They welcome them back by the hundreds with open arms. And people like Tommy Robinson, who's from the UK, they throw him in jail for reporting on the pedophile grooming gangs for young kids. And let me tell you, they got a blackout, media blackout. This is the cartoon. It'd be funny if it wasn't so true. They have a media blackout. The media can't talk about Tommy Robinson, can't ask him questions. The government's not talking about. They jailed him with some secret kangaroo court for 13 months. There are people fearful that he'll be killed in prison. Tommy Robinson, that's right. And you know what the real deal is? Not that he reported on this evil crap of pedophilia by these radical Muslim weasels. He had a thing recently called Day of Freedom, talking about free speech. Thousands of people showed up to his little rally. Day of Freedom, free speech. Oh, guess what? Can't have that. No, no, no. Hey, UK, you should be ashamed of yourself. The leadership should be ashamed of what you're doing to that country and doing to those people. And those people out there ought to rally around free speech and Tommy Robinson. And go against your leaders. I mean, Theresa May was supposed to have you out of Brexit, and they're bleeding you dry. And they're packing your country with more radical extremist Muslims. And Sharia courts that they're allowing. And covering up crimes by radical Muslims. And meanwhile, while they're jailing people like Tommy Robinson, your country's being destroyed. And it's being allowed to be destroyed by your leaders. Some more head fake news. Dick's took away all their guns. And then they hired lobbyists to go after their competitors to take away their guns because they lost their competitive advantage. But I thought this, as soon as I saw this, BS. Oh, I don't believe it. Dick's is saying, hey, our sales are actually up despite the tougher gun policy. Our sales are up. First quarter. Really? Yeah, let's see how that goes in the second quarter, the third quarter, the fourth quarter. You and Field and Stream, Dick's, people are out there with, hey, listen, we have good guns and we're not Dick's. People are going to boycott them. I can't tell you how many people came on and say they were going to boycott Dick's Sporting Goods and Field and Stream for their social engineering policy. They want to punish their competitors now. They hired lobbyists, anti-gun lobbyists, to go after their competitors. That's how Dick's operates. And just how the Democrats operate. I mean, what they're for are for MS-13. So they don't want you to have a gun. But MS-13, that's okay. No problem. Kill all the white people you want. Kill all the Hispanic people you want. Kill all the Asian people. Kill all the people you want. White House is saying, spokesperson, unbelievable Democrats standing up with MS-13 gang rather than defending Americans. That's true. I mean, you had reporters, stand up. John Harwood, that idiot over at NBC, they're not animals. Nancy Pelosi sticking up for MS-13. Are you nuts, Nancy? But that's what they do. They're for that. That's their little army. Their little minion army of evil. And they want you to vote for them. They're also running candidates that are faux Republican, look like Republican, like military people. There's one guy, I think there are limits to the First Amendment. Nope, there's not that many. I mean, you can't yell fire in a crowded movie theater. There's not that many. And there should be limits to the Second Amendment. I was a soldier for 27 months in Iraq. Hey, thank you for your service, but you can go pound sand if you want to take away my rights and the rights of we the people. You're not going to trust me with a gun? You're not going to trust a law-abiding citizen with a gun? So only the cops and the military should have the guns. Is that right, Mr. Soldier, who spent 27 months in the sand? Again, thank you for your service, but as far as you taking away my rights, you go pound sand. And the Democrats are running, we're going to run military people who are anti-gun. That's their thing. Anti-gun, raise your taxes. We're for the middle class, though. That's what Elizabeth Warren keeps saying. We're for the middle class. You want to flood the border with illegal aliens. You want to raise my taxes. You want to suppress my rights. You want to suppress free speech. Oh, and Elizabeth Warren, she's for China. Where they just elected a premier for life. a dictator for life, Elizabeth Warren, praises communist China long-term whole of government strategy, whatever that cuckoo time means. Long-term whole of government. The government's your God. We're your overseer. Oh, don't worry about the dictator for life in China, Elizabeth. That's okay. You just like the communists. That's what I've been telling you about the Democrat Party. This is not the party of Kennedy. As a matter of fact, if Kennedy was alive today, he'd be a Republican, and the Democrats would hate him. More about China, and this is freakish. This is an older story, but this is coming here now, today, here in the here and now. And I want you to just read this right here. This is from Wired.com. Inside China's vast new experiment in social ranking. What's that vast new experiment? Well, Samantha Hoffman, a consultant with the International Institute for Strategic Studies in London, who is researching social credit. What's social credit? It's tying your social profile, your Facebook, your Twitter, your Snapchat, your Instagram, and whatever you say on there, and if you're good, according to them, or bad, tying that with your credit and what available credit and whether you get a low interest rate or a house loan or a car loan or a better movie ticket seat or maybe an upgrade on an airplane or all kinds of stuff. That's what that's what China's doing so they can control you. This is what Elizabeth Warren's all about. The China, the whole government concept of China control. It's the social credit says that the government wants to preempt instability. Oh, that's a nice way of saying control you, like Orwellian gulag, that might threaten the party. There's one party over there, the one party, mono thinking. That's why social credit ideally requires both coercive aspects and nicer aspects like, providing social services and solving real problems. It's all under the same Orwellian umbrella. The coercive stuff is like, you said something on your social media, we're going to cut all your money off and take your money out of your bank. Those people are over there, paying things with their cell phone. And if you look at this social credit, it's also sesame credit. It's, social behavior and spending habits. So we didn't like the tweet you sent out saying you support Roseanne Barr. We don't like it that you're a Christian. We don't like it that you watched this video all the way to the end about what is the U.S. Constitution. We don't like that. We're going to cut your credit off or cut it down or charge you a higher interest rate or keep you from getting a house loan or a car loan. That's what Elizabeth Warren is. That's the kind of world she wants to live in. Oh, but she's for the middle class. This continues. There should be consequences for dishonest behavior, she avowed. The good were moving without obstruction. Oh, the good, the compliant, the brainless, dumb weasels, the good, are moving without obstruction. A threat hung over the rest. This is according to Hu Tao, Zima Credit General Manager. That's what they're doing in China. They want to bring that here with Sesame Credit. Sesame Credit. Your social profile tied to your credit availability. Where if they don't like this side, they cut you off on that side. It's unbelievable, folks. Deutsche Bank. I've talked about Deutsche Bank a lot. It's this, according to the IMF, the systemically most dangerous bank in the world, according to the IMF. And then they added another 8 banks several months ago on top of that. Folks, we live in a shaky world. Could Deutsche Bank be another Lehman? Yeah, by about 20. Deutsche Bank makes Lehman look like a kiosk. It's huge. They've got 47 trillion in derivatives now. That's down from 70 trillion, but it's 47 trillion in derivatives. You heard Martin Armstrong talk about Deutsche Bank. And they said, why don't they, combine Deutsche Bank and Commerzbank, which is also in Germany? Well, because they have 47 trillion and Commerzbank has tens of trillions of derivatives. They just two busted banks. Could this be the trigger? I don't know. But boy, Gregory Mannarino called me and said at one point today, Deutsche Bank was down 9%. Deutsche Bank is said to be added to the Fed and FDIC list of problem banks. It was supposed to be a secret, but not so much of a secret. This is widely reported. This is just the American banker story, Zero Hedge. Other people picked it up, but not a lot of people, I'm telling you. Deutsche Bank slipped 5.4%. It was down as much as 9%. In America, it slipped 4.2%. This is in a day, folks. In Frankfurt trading to a near record low. It's extended losses this year, more than 41%. That's just this year, folks. Down 41%. Deutsche Bank is $11.08 a share. 5 years ago, it was $39 down. It's down still 70%. And down 41% just this year. It's got $47 trillion in derivatives, as I told you, and this could be the daisy chains that takes everything down. Meanwhile, Donald Trump is telling Germany we're not going to have luxury cars imported from Germany for a while. We're going to have tariffs on steel and aluminum. I mean, is he trying to take Deutsche Bank down? If he takes Deutsche Bank down, there's going to be a bunch of other banks go down too. Could this cut the money off for the deep state and the New World Order? Woo, you betcha. All the people that are going to lose money in 2008 were the bondholders. And who are the bondholders? Well, you don't, people like you and me don't buy bonds. I mean, savings bonds, but I don't even think you can buy that. But if you have $1 billion, I got this from Martin Armstrong. He says, listen, if you have $1 billion, you can't put it in an FDIC account that has $250,000 worth of insurance. You need to be in the credit market, the sovereign credit market, Euro credit market, the Treasury market, corporate market. You have to, you want to put $1 billion, $2 billion somewhere. You need a big area to do it. Well, the rich were going to get crushed with their bonds. Could Donald Trump take down Deutsche Bank? Could Deutsche Bank implode? I don't know. But listen, folks, it is. This is not some internet myth. The IMF does say it's the most systemically dangerous bank in the world. They have big problems. They're down 41% this year. I think they were at one point an $80, $90, $100 stock 10 years ago. I mean, they're in the. This happened to Lehman Brothers. On Friday, it was a $10, $11, like it is now with Deutsche Bank, and on Monday, it was worth $1. I mean, I'm telling you. So be careful. Some people say, I did get an anonymous writer and told me that, hey, Greg, I hate to tell you this, but, they not only did they lay off 7,000 people a couple of weeks ago, but this anonymous writer, and I don't know if this is true or not, said Deutsche Bank, they've already imploded. They've already imploded. They're just trying to figure out how they're going to ease this into, without causing even a bigger daisy chain of explosions around the world. I don't know. But they're in trouble. They didn't get added to an FDIC list of problem banks here in America because they're doing great. They usually do that right at the very end. They don't, it's like the credit rating agencies. On the day they go under, they lower their credit. They cut their credit. Or the day before they go under, they cut their credit. So I'm just warning you, folks. I know I've warned you a lot of times. I know I've told you to get ready and stay ready. But the problems with the debt, the $20 trillion we already owe, Mark Skidmore, who PhD in economics and also public finance, discovered the $21 trillion missing out of just two departments, the DOD and the Housing and Urban Development, and they still haven't been able to account for any of that $21 trillion missing dollars, folks. There's a lot of digits, dollars, debt, bonds, derivatives. It's when it goes, nobody's going to blow a trumpet. Nobody's going to tell you to, take cover. It's just going to go. And it's going to go in nanosecond internet time. Is this the weekend? I don't know. Is it next week? I don't know. It's going to happen. And every day you get to get ready and stay ready, please do so. I want to thank everybody for their comments. Got smart people here. Got some trolls, too. I put some of the trolls on. Some of them I just cut off. I think they're a troll. I put some of them on just to let you know how, what they're trying to do, what they're trying to work, thought shape you. But I appreciate the legitimate comments. We have a ton of people, smart people that comment legitimately. And I appreciate the donations. That helps us out. And remember, fear not. Prepare yourself mentally, physically, above all, spiritually. Fear not. They want you to be fearful. They want you to be blinded. They want you to be frozen. They want you to lose your faith. Don't be fearful. Don't lose your faith. Don't be silent. Fear not. God the Father and His Son, Jesus Christ, are firmly in control.